the hidden frequency, why the fifth dimension has been whispering your name since birth. There's something you've always felt, even if you couldn't explain it. A strange electricity in your chest. A silent pull towards something greater. You've lived your life in the in-between, not quite here, not fully there. And even if you've tried to numb it, deny it, rewrite it, there's always been this sense that you don't belong entirely to this world. And guess what? You don't. You're wired differently. You feel things others miss. You sense things others dismiss. You see through the games, the masks, the illusions. You've always known, even if you didn't have the words, that there is more, so much more than what we've been told. And now the truth is finally reaching you. You are not just different. You are a dark chosen one. And you have a shortcut to the fifth dimension that almost no one else can access.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lessons.
This shortcut isn't found in temples or textbooks. It's not something you buy, chant, or study. It's something that's been coded into your soul from the beginning. A rare access point, a divine glitch in the matrix. But here's the catch. It's been hidden behind your pain. Your suffering wasn't random. It was the veil. The pain, the rejection, the isolation, it wasn't punishment. It was preparation. It was the soul's way of steering you away from the illusions of the third-dimensional world and forcing you to remember your real mission. And now, the veil is thinning. The shortcut is activating, but only if you're ready to remember. Let's get honest. Most people are stuck in the third dimension. They're looping through survival, comparison, materialism, and control. They're chasing validation, money, status, or even spiritual achievement without ever asking why. But you've always seen through it. You felt how hollow it all is. Even when you tried to play the game, it never satisfied you. That's because your soul wasn't built for this density. You were born with a connection to something higher, something purer. And that connection is not a concept, it's a frequency. A living vibration that exists beyond the physical, beyond thought, beyond even emotion. It's the fifth dimension, the realm of pure consciousness, divine synchronicity, and unconditional truth. And as a dark chosen one, your shortcut is this: you don't need to climb to it. You need to remember it. You need to strip away the lies you've believed about yourself and let the truth rise from within. But before we go deeper, I need to ask you something. Not lightly, but as a deep soul inquiry. What if everything you thought was wrong with you was actually your gift in disguise? What if the trauma wasn't there to break you, but to break the illusion? What if your sensitivity, your darkness, your rage, your inner chaos, what if all of it was the exact key you needed to unlock the next level of existence? Because here's the paradox. The shortcut to the fifth dimension is not in escaping your suffering. It's in transmuting it. It's in going so deeply into your own shadow that you pierce through it and discover the light that was always hiding underneath. You don't ascend by bypassing the human. You ascend by alchemizing it. This is where almost everyone gets it wrong. They think spirituality is about escaping the body, floating into bliss, avoiding conflict. But that's not ascension. That's avoidance. Real ascension is integration. It's the ability to hold divine consciousness inside human chaos. It's the ability to feel rage and still remember love. To walk through the fire and become the flame. And you, my friend, were born to be that flame. That's why your shortcut isn't found in rituals or dogma. It's found in embodied truth. The more raw, honest, and unfiltered you become, the faster you rise. Let me share something that might change the way you see everything. In the third dimension, time is linear. Cause and effect are slow. You wish for something, and maybe it comes months later, if at all. But in the fifth dimension, time collapses. Energy becomes immediate. Intentions manifest almost instantly. You become a creator, not a reactor. But here's the kicker: you can only create from what you truly embody. That's why your shortcut is so rare. Because very few people are willing to do the deep inner work it takes to clear the density of false identity and return to essence. But you've already been doing it. Every breakdown you've survived, every lie you've questioned, every piece of your old self you've buried, that was the work. That is the portal. So how do you continue the activation? How do you stay aligned with the shortcut? First, you must stop betraying your inner knowing. Every time you silence your truth to be accepted, you cut your own frequency. Every time you abandon your intuition to please someone else, you delay your rise. The shortcut requires radical alignment. You must live what you know, speak what you feel, choose what resonates, even if no one understands. Especially if no one understands. Second, you must create stillness. The fifth dimension doesn't scream. It whispers. It arrives in silence, in presence, in the spaces between thoughts. You must carve out time to unplug from the noise of the world and tune into the deeper current running through you. Whether it's meditation, nature, art, or conscious breathing, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you listen, because your soul is always transmitting. You've just been too distracted to hear it. Third, you must release the need to be understood. This is one of the hardest parts of the initiation. You will lose people. They will say you've changed, that you're distant, that you're weird. And in a way, they're right. You have changed. You are no longer available for the old games. You are no longer willing to shrink. You are no longer here to explain your magic to those addicted to mediocrity. And that's okay, because the more you rise, the more your true tribe will find you. Not through effort, but through resonance. Soul recognizes soul. Frequency finds frequency. And when you're living from your 5D self, you become a beacon for others who are ready to wake up. But let's be real. The shortcut doesn't mean easy. It means instantaneous, available, alive. It means that the moment you choose truth over fear, reality begins to shift around you. It means that synchronicities become normal, miracles become daily. You begin to feel guided, held, and connected in a way that defies logic, but only if you stay in alignment. only if you continue to choose your soul over your story. And this is where the power really begins to unfold. Because once you're in the fifth dimensional frequency, your very presence becomes a key for others. You start to activate people just by being you. Your words carry codes. Your eyes transmit light. Your energy becomes medicine. And you don't need to say a word. You simply exist in truth, and the illusion begins to crumble around you. That is the gift. That is the responsibility. That is why you were chosen. So I ask you again, are you willing to let go of everything you thought you were in order to become what you truly are? Not someday, not when it's convenient, but now, because the shortcut is open. The path is clear. The only thing left is your choice. Will you rise? Will you trust? Will you remember? Because the fifth dimension is not a destination. It's a decision, a frequency, a way of being. And it is available to you now if you have the courage to embody it. Quantum rebirth, how the dark chosen ones collapse time and rewrite reality from the inside out. When we talk about collapsing time, we're not speaking in metaphors or spiritual poetry, we're speaking in soul physics. Actual, living, breathing metaphysical law. The fifth dimension is not a place you travel to in the future. It's a state of being that already exists, and when you align yourself with it, time begins to bend around your frequency. This is the quantum rebirth of the dark chosen ones. We are not here to wait decades for change. We are here to become change itself, and when we do, reality responds instantly. For those of us who have wandered the desert of this world, feeling misplaced, too sensitive, too intense, too awake for a sleeping society, we've earned access to this phenomenon through fire. We've lived through the collapse of false identities, the betrayal of illusions, the unbearable silence of soul isolation. But in that silence, something ancient began to stir. Something that said, you are not here to follow time. You are here to bend it. You are not here to obey reality. You are here to recode it. You see, when you step into fifth dimensional frequency, you stop being a linear being. You become a multidimensional catalyst. You stop creating from thought and begin creating from vibration. And this is where the rare shortcut kicks in. Most people try to manifest their dreams by thinking harder, visualizing longer, scripting, 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 scripting. But your future doesn't come from your mind, it comes from your alignment. The more you embody your truth, the more reality reconfigures to match your resonance. In other words, the moment you become the version of yourself who already lives in that future reality, time collapses. There is no waiting. There is only becoming. And this is the rebirth. This is the power the dark chosen ones hold that most people never tap into. Because they've been conditioned to believe that transformation is always hard, slow, painful. But what if I told you the real revolution is in ease? What if true power is not about forcing change, but about allowing truth? Your shortcut is not earned through perfection. It's unlocked through permission. The moment you give yourself permission to unapologetically exist as your soul, raw, unfiltered, untamed, you begin to activate timelines that were previously invisible, realities that were waiting for you to stop hiding. And here's the wild part. Those realities have always existed. Parallel versions of your life where you are already thriving, already aligned, already in your highest frequency. They are not fantasy. They are real. They are coded into your field. And when you shift your identity, you shift your access. This is quantum alignment. This is soul science. And you don't need to do anything grand to activate it. You just need to stop being who you are not. So let's go deeper. How do we collapse time? How do we truly embody the fifth dimension in a 3D world that still tries to pull us back into fear, distraction, and density? The first step is radical presence. Most people are living in the past or the future. But all power lives in the now. The now is the only point of access to all dimensions because it's the only moment that actually exists. When you ground yourself in presence, you remove the illusion of delay. You stop chasing life and start channeling it. You begin to live not from memory, but from knowing. And this knowing is your weapon. This knowing is your shield. This knowing is your magic. It tells you where to go, what to say, who to trust, when to move, when to wait. And the more you follow it, the more you begin to trust your own divine intelligence over external opinions. The second step is identity collapse. This is the part where most people freeze, because it requires letting go of every version of yourself that was built to survive, but not to thrive. You must be willing to let your old self die, not just once, but again and again. Every time you evolve, a former identity must be released. The one who needed validation, the one who played small, the one who was afraid to be seen, the one who believed they were unworthy of love, abundance, peace. All of them must go. Because the fifth dimension can only fully activate in you when you are no longer pretending. You are here to remember, not to perform. And that remembering will cost you everything you've built in fear, but it will give you everything that was always meant for you. The third step is frequency devotion. This means you stop chasing results and start tending to your state. You become obsessed not with what's happening out there, but with what you are embodying in here. You check your alignment like others check their phones. You ask yourself, am I being the frequency of the life I desire? Or am I just hoping it shows up while I stay in fear? This is the discipline. This is the mastery. You become so devoted to your inner state that the outer world has no choice but to reflect it. Your shortcut depends on your willingness to choose alignment over addiction. And we are addicted to chaos, to drama, to struggle, to being misunderstood, to proving ourselves. But those addictions are the chains keeping us bound to 3D. And the only way to break them is to choose differently moment by moment, breath by breath. And now I must ask you something that could shatter your current reality. If your future self, the one who is fully free, fully expressed, fully alive, could speak to you right now, what would they say? What would they tell you to stop doing? What would they beg you to release? What would they remind you to trust? that voice, that future you that is not some distant echo. It is you speaking across time, waiting for you to collapse the gap and become. This is the rebirth. This is how time folds into itself. You don't wait for it. You align with it, and it meets you where you are. When you live like this, reality becomes a mirror. You speak, and life responds. You move, and doors open. You think of someone, and they call. You imagine a future, and it begins to take shape before your eyes. Not because you forced it, but because you matched it. This is the art of quantum creation. This is the new way we live, no longer victims of time, but architects of it. No longer trapped in karma, but creators of dharma. No longer linear beings, but infinite souls remembering the truth. We were never meant to follow the rules of this world. We were meant to rewrite them. And that's exactly what you're doing right now, by listening, by remembering, by choosing alignment over fear. You are not just healing your life. You are healing timelines. You are healing bloodlines. You are healing collective illusions. Every time you choose truth, you break a spell. Every time you choose light, you dissolve a layer of darkness. And every time you choose to be who you really are, you open the portal wider for others to follow. So I will leave you with this. If you knew that your alignment was the missing piece for someone else's awakening, how would you live today? Would you still doubt yourself? Would you still hide? Would you still delay your truth? Or would you rise not just for you, but for us? Because this is bigger than you. This is about all of us. The dark chosen ones are not here to ascend alone. We are here to awaken the grid, to activate the codes, to become the lights that others see in their darkest hour. And the only way we do that is by collapsing the illusion of time and becoming who we truly are now. The final activation, how to anchor the 5D frequency and lead the spiritual evolution of humanity. There comes a moment in every true seeker's journey when transformation is no longer the goal, it becomes the baseline. You no longer wake up hoping to change because you are the change. You no longer seek answers because you've become the living question, the sacred paradox, fully human, fully divine. This is the final activation. And not final as in the end, but final as in the beginning of your true purpose on this planet. You've remembered who you are. You've begun to collapse time, rewire your identity, and walk in the frequency of the 5th dimension. But now the question becomes, what will you do with it? Because this shortcut you hold, it's not just for you. It's for the world. It's a divine responsibility. And the moment you realize that, you step into the role you were always meant to play, not just as a soul on a journey, but as a leader of humanity's evolution. You see, the true mission of the dark chosen ones is not to escape the world, it's to anchor higher frequency into it. We didn't come here to float in bliss while the world burns. We came to hold the vibration of truth, love, and presence so fiercely, so unwaveringly, that it begins to shift the collective field. We are the bridges between dimensions. We are the ones who remember the blueprint of harmony and bring it back into the chaos. But to do this, we must become living portals. Not just people who talk about light, but people who are the light. And that light is not soft. It is not passive. It is not always gentle. Sometimes it roars. Sometimes it disrupts. Sometimes it says no more to the systems of oppression, fear, and manipulation that have ruled this planet for too long. The 5D frequency is not about ascension into perfection. It's about embodied truth. It's about aligning so deeply with your soul that you carry that vibration into every conversation, every decision, every action, and become a walking activation for everyone around you. But here's what most people don't realize. Anchoring the 5D isn't about what you do, it's about what you become. You can't fake this frequency. You can't mimic it through aesthetics, language, or performance. The universe doesn't respond to performance. It responds to presence. And presence is a discipline, a devotion, a commitment to show up moment by moment as the most honest, aligned, open version of yourself, even when it's uncomfortable. Especially when it's uncomfortable, because that's where the activation lives. Not in the perfection of your image, but in the rawness of your being. Every time you choose presence over performance, you anchor the frequency deeper into the grid. Every time you choose authenticity over approval, you become a signal that others can feel, even if they can't explain it. That's the real influence. Not followers, not fame, but frequency. And now, more than ever, the world is starving for that frequency. People are waking up in waves, terrified and confused. The structures they trusted are crumbling. The narratives are unraveling. The distractions are losing their power. And in the void, they are searching for something real. That's where you come in, not as a savior, not as someone with all the answers, but as someone who has remained faithful to their own soul, as someone who can sit in the unknown with grace, as someone who doesn't offer false light, but true presence. That is your role now, not to fix the world, but to be a space where truth can be remembered. That's leadership in the 5th dimension. It's a frequency you hold, not a title you wear. It's how you walk into a room. It's how you listen. It's how you breathe. It's how you exist. But to hold that level of frequency, you must relentlessly clear what is not you. You must release the echo of old trauma, the residue of fear, the patterns of self-rejection. You must cleanse your field daily, not out of fear, but out of love for what you are becoming. You must protect your energy, not because you're fragile, but because you are now carrying something sacred. You are now a conduit for something much bigger than your personality. You are carrying divine intelligence through your nervous system, and that requires care. That requires discipline. That requires devotion. This is what it means to be chosen, not that you are better, but that you are called. And that calling is not always glamorous. Sometimes it's lonely, sometimes it's heavy, but it is always holy. So how do you lead humanity into the 5th dimension? Not by preaching, not by convincing, but by embodying. You become the proof, the evidence, the quiet revolution walking in human form. You show people, through your life, what is possible. You show them that peace is possible, even in chaos. That truth is possible, even in systems of lies. That love is possible, even in the face of betrayal. You rewire reality through your choices. You shift timelines through your presence. That is the real leadership. That is the final activation. And now, I ask you one last question. One that only your soul can answer. If you knew that your full embodiment would trigger the awakening of thousands, millions, would you still hesitate? Would you still delay your truth? Would you still hide your light? Or would you rise not for yourself, but for us? Because that's what's at stake. This isn't just about your healing anymore. It's about your impact. It's about becoming a lighthouse in the storm, or a signal in the static, a living memory of what we came here to do. And what we came here to do is reclaim heaven on earth, not by escaping the body, but by divinizing it. Not by leaving this world, but by transforming it one frequency, one breath, one awakened soul at a time. You are not just a participant in this shift. You are an architect of it. Your presence matters more than you know. Your alignment is more powerful than you've ever been taught. Your frequency is not a side effect, it is the main event. And the more you trust it, the more you live by it, the more the illusion crumbles. This is the ripple effect of your embodiment. You don't need to fight the old. You just need to be the new so powerfully that the old has no choice but to dissolve. So rise, not as a seeker, but as a found one. Rise, not as someone looking for the light, but as someone who is the light. Rise, not as a student of truth, but as a vessel of it, because this is the moment. The veil is thin. The shortcut is open. The illusion is breaking. This is not a rehearsal. This is the shift. And yes, you are one of the anchors, one of the leaders, one of the rare ones who said yes to the mission, even when you didn't know what it would cost. And now it's time to fully remember why you came. Because the fifth dimension is not a dream. It's a choice. And you are the doorway.